Ladies and gentlemen, after a bit of a wait and a very exciting season, the time has finally come. We appreciate your patience as always with the minor delay that we had to stream start this evening. And with that, it is time to say welcome to the final round of the Invitational. It's been great here at GRDC putting this event on and having a brilliant amount of fun. But now it's time to watch everyone bring their A game, bring the fire, bring the heat here in AMS2. Because we have had an exceptional season with many key players, many great drivers, and now it all comes to a head. One last race decides it tonight. It's the Circuit de la Sarthe. It is going to be a thrill ride in, of course, as a reminder, these are the machines that we are going to be running in. This is the Nissan R89C. An beast of a Group C car. Definitely a tough car to wrangle. And drivers who have been talking about it in practice have spoken of the unique challenge that this car brings. How you have to finely balance the car on the limit. Of course, if you can tame it, it is capable of some exceptional speeds. But with that comes the challenge of getting this car locked down, getting this car balanced, and ensuring that you can keep all of that speed, all of that power under control. So we'll have to wait to find out about that. But of course, let us know your thoughts on the season thus far. If you've enjoyed what we've done here, if you like to see more AMS2 events, as well as other in different racing categories, by all means, let us know. We do have the Discord server, and we'll continue to put out great content on this here YouTube channel. So, of course, any feedback is massively appreciated. And with that, let's talk quickly about the standings before we go trackside. Drivers have got a minute 2 minute and 30 seconds left on their practice session. They have had a practice session prior to this, but this is final primer to make sure that everyone is ready to go qualifying and everyone is ready to go quick around this track. It is La Sarthe 2, so it does have the 2 chicanes. We will not be seeing 200 miles an hour excess in this round, but we will see a fight for the championship as we have Daniel Gilligan, 276 points to his name, and we have a very exciting fight at the front. You have a duel between Gilligan and Moffat, followed very closely behind a certain Cormac Molloy. So it's 276 points for Gilligan, 259 for Moffat, and for Molloy, it's going to be 222. So while maybe not at the front line and with the fighting chance for the championship in this one, will of course be fighting to get his way up and confirm that P3. Because remember, top 3, they do get trophies. They do get genuine prizes. Points mean prizes, and that's very true here. Then we have Yari Hatbudin, followed by Simon Aid, Missouri. Then in P7 through to 10, we have Richard Cook. We have none other than Liam Murray in 8th, Craig Starkey, we go to in 9th, closely followed by, it will show up, Paul Sims. And then you get into around with a few drivers who have had some DNFs, some DNSs. But the thing that stood out to me is ruthless consistency from some of the top runners. Gilligan, currently sat with 276 points, for instance, got 3 second places on the trot. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and then in the 5th race, the double points for Bathurst. Remember, last time out, it was finally a 1st place for him, and then a 4th place on the 2nd race. 2 wins in the hands of Moffat, so they are a driver that has certainly performed well, but hasn't been able to match that consistency level overall, and that's what's currently put him behind. Not to mention, I believe they have a few penalty points. So let us know who you're rooting for. Let us know who you are keeping an eye on. I've just got word that even with the chicanes, these things are monsters enough where they can hit excess of 220 miles an hour. Which, I gotta say, shows how much I've been driving sort of slower race cars and haven't had the experience with this kind of intense machinery. They're still hitting 220s in between the chicanes. Colour me impressed. But now it's time to go. And it's time to go trackside. We've had practice now finalised, and it's quali underway in just a moment. 10 minutes, followed by a 40-minute race session. And what a session it is going to be. Strap in, folks. Once the timer elapses, once everyone is back across that line and through into the pits, we are going to be going out there. And going out into the darkness, too. The racers will not only have to contend with the monsters, that is the R89C, but they will have to simultaneously deal with the night, deal with other cars, and see what they can do, given that these laps are a little bit longer than maybe these drivers are used to from the Invitational. So we see we have one more car, and we'll quickly sort of tune our eyes over. One more car currently on the field. That is Thompson, just finishing out their practice lap. And as you can hear the noise of these cars, roar of the engine. Can get a bit of perspective to see just what we are up against. Either way, let's go full zoom. Let's go trackside here. And oh, yeah, he's going to go into the wall, and that is going to be the start of qualifying. Let's go and have a bit of a play as the Group C's all lining up. 23 degrees. Track surface temp and 16 degrees ambient, so might be a little bit more work to get that rubber activated and get those cars really in that ideal operating window. 6 km/h southward winds might play a little bit of havoc with the aerodynamics as well. I'm not sure how pitch and aero sensitive these things truly are. Of course, we shall look forward to the challenges, to the battles, to the excitement that awaits us. In 10 seconds, we go racing here in quali and then in the race for the final time. Of course, this isn't going to be the end of the Invitational, because I don't doubt that we will have further competitions. And with AMS's 1.6 update on the horizon, we will have an immense season ahead. Bright future here with AMS2. Let's see, everyone embarking out on the course, and already we see a few flying out. See, some very different paint jobs as well. We've got Simon Aid here, almost in a stealth black livery. I'll say a little bit of a gaming throwback, because that brings me right to the days of Gran Turismo 4. If you joined in on that game on a certain day, you looked in the used car section, you could find Midnight Edition of certain race cars. This one included, I do believe. It was one of 4 cars. A Formula car, a couple of prototypes, and either this or the R89 CP, which was, of course, the updated version. Here we are. Let's see, anyhow, how it can do. Heading through to the first chicane of the Mulsanne Straight. handled very nicely, not afraid to get the elbows out right to the edge of the track. Sounding like an absolute rocket. Quickly makes its way down, jumping on the brakes. Just after the crest. So responsive, so quick. Ability to turn, almost unmatched with these Group C prototypes. Say AMS2 will have a very big future in sim racing, I can tell. 1.6 looking very good. Support from big names like LFM. Of course, we'll be here to see it all the way. We'll be continuing to do what we do and do it well. So we hope we'll have you on board with us. That goes for both the drivers and you watching at home. We are nice running here from Eid. Got everyone else who is, I believe, sort of in a split environment. As we can jump on board with Richard Kirk. So running a little bit of a different paint. Nice from number 17. Nissan Aficionados. And we have got a confirmation from owner Craig Starkey himself that there will be a 2025 Invitational. So you'll want to keep your ears to the ground on this one, folks. This excitement is very much on the horizon. See, that's Gilligan, of course, current championship leader. Let's see how they gravitate well towards the Group Cs. Really getting to the edge of the circuit there, riding the car through these final twisting turns. Good level of commitment. Now remember, these longer laps mean that you're only going to realistically have about 2 to 3 attempts at a good qualifying run. Well handled, well composed. We're going to start seeing times on the board any second now as we get through the final chicane on board here with Daniel Gilligan coming up to that line. What is the initial times going to be? Let's, of course, find out as we are now fully committed. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the lap. I think 3 attempts, maybe a little bit optimistic on my part. But certainly 2 good attempts. And if you make a mistake on 1 lap, you better hope that your second is going to carry it all the way through. We get a bit of an idea of the strength of some of these racers. So that's Vasuri with the first lap out. Looks like he's missing a front left headlight, but has got a 4:07. First initial time. Little bit behind, I believe it was Thompson who was out in practice. Oh, very much committed through. There's a Finlayson we were watching on board with now. A driver that has certainly got the capabilities of great pace. And has flexed those muscles from time to time. Piloting red and white, always taking inspiration from some of their later protos in terms of colour scheme. And we look on board with Moffat as well. Another racer, so very close to the heart of the championship. And a very striking livery to boot. White and pink. I dig the colours. Bit of creative expression there. I'm all for it. Well, meanwhile, we jump aboard with Barham and we see a big struggle there as he's not been able to keep that thing on track. You see the engine. You can hear it chopping. As he's keeping that car reined in as best he can out of the chicane. A little bit overcommitment can very much compromise you. You just hear the engine sounds. Gnarly sounding cars. I really do love the noise that these things make in particular. But here we go now. Lap times are going to start coming in. Some drivers running the standard R89C. Of course, the iconic blue, white with red accents. We do see Thompson heading into the pits, opting to yield. As our camera has had a bit of a moment. And times are shortly going to be flying through. See everyone in their own environment on track. A stick on board with championship leader Gilligan. We saw him start the laps, now let's see him finish it. Big wave of times about to come through, provided they kept it clean. That's going to be a big improvement from Simon Eade. It's a 327. Is there going to be any challenge from the rest of the field? Let's see here. That is going to be a 332 from Molloy, a 330.1 from Daniel Gilligan. Simon Eade currently leads. Is there going to be any challenge from the rest? That is going to be a 336 for Richard Cook. Paul Sims, who we're on board with now, coming up to that line. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 333. As there will also be a Daniel Moffat with a 34.9. Finlayson, invalid last time out. Barham now coming up to the line. At least they can bank a lap, get something in the books that would automatically put them P8 at minimum. Looks like because they cut the chicane, despite losing time, it will still be counted as an invalid lap. And that will result in them having to go again. The top of the field is doing much of the same. Finlayson has decided that it's not going to be worth that further push, that reattempt. And so now, with the exception of Barham, all the others, I don't believe, will get a chance to set a time. Seriously impressive running from Simon Eade, though. 3 minute 27. That is a driver to watch, if I've ever seen one. So we have Eade, Gilligan, Molloy, Sims, Surrey, and Barham remaining out on the course. Last minute of qualifying to go, and then a 40-minute race is going to ensue. Who will be the one to push that challenge to the top? To really get their game on. Show us what kind of laps they are capable of at this stage. Hunting down. Eagerly awaiting an improvement. The others are closing in. That's going to be Paul Sims retiring out from his lap attempt. He's going to go into the pits, settle at best with a 333. Surrey himself is also running a little bit slow, maybe struggling to keep the reins on that Group C car. I would not be surprised. They can be a handful. Molloy out there, looking to get a couple of seconds, see if he can put the pressure down on Gilligan, who himself is wanting to confirm this championship tonight. It could still go awry. Our final rounding of this circuit. Only 5 cars remain out on times. Qualifying is completed and the timer is ticking. This lap is make or break. See Simon Eade heading into the pits, happy with his 327 and not going to be expecting any improvement. Gilligan remains committed all the way out there though. Will we see an improvement from the blue Nissan up to the line? Good looking run. 328, but not enough of position. This could save him off the back of Molloy, who's got a 331. No improvement in position for himself there either. Barham, meanwhile, is going to be hot on the heels of a fresh time. He's the only wild card in this whole ordeal. He will be the driver that upsets the balance. As it looks like at that corner, our cameraman likes to take a little bit of a security nap. Barham is quickly approaching the line. Important thing to note is that there is a mandatory stop for tyres, and that will likely include some fuel. Given that these prototypes will be massive fuel burners, qualifying session is officially done, and with that, we have 8 out of 11 times on this board. We have, of course, the safety car paying a little visit, but we have Simon Eade, who takes pole position with a 3:27.293, followed by Daniel Gilligan, Cormac Molloy, Paul Sims, Danny Moffat, Richard Cook, Gary Barham, and then Eero with a 4:07. Unfortunately, not getting that improvement they wanted. And you can see a little bit of frustration from Finlayson, as he has got, and he claimed it himself, 2 invalid laps. Not a position that he wanted to be in, and that is probably why he bowed out so early on. It's because he couldn't get those laps to be valid. He couldn't get them to stick. Unfortunate for him. Unfortunately, will not be seeing the light of day with his time. So Murray, Finlayson, and Thompson are going to be at the back of the grid for the start of this race. 40 minutes about to get underway. Let's see what these drivers are capable of, as we are now trackside. We can see them all lining up, ready for the parade of horsepower that is the Invitational finale. Who will come out on top? Will it be championship leader Gilligan? Will Moffat have a chance to get some points off of the leader? Or could we even see a wild card coming in? We've got Simon Eade on pole currently. He could launch himself into 4th position. And we have a couple of other cars who could certainly upset the balance. Cormac, very much in a prime position to lock in a podium here tonight. Let's see how this ends. Murray, Finlayson, and Thompson have got themselves a bit of a chip on shoulder and a bit of a point to prove, as they will not allowed to set a time. As a result, having to start from the back, despite maybe being on very good pace. So just waiting for final setups now for the drivers. Then we will get started. And there you go. The red lights are up. The track is hot. Freezing cold in reality, but about to get electric with this race start. You can see immediately there's going to be sweeps left, sweeps right, contact. That's going to be Moffat with an early run, a very good start, but a contact with another car. That could draw ire of stewarding. And immediately going on that aggression. Everyone overextending that first corner. That is insane to watch and see. They all go too deep. Nobody is able to keep that reined in. Not even leaders. Gilligan about half a second. Lost through that sector. A wobble from Moffat as he tries to keep on the back of Eade. Of course, there is the level of commitment, but how much are you going to commit before you start to drop the rear, you start to make a mistake? We'll see how it handled. Moffat with that very early aggression, that early push. Getting some serious points under the belt, and he's going to be up into the first place. And be in the lead of this one. Through the first chicane. Has a chance to prove his worth, prove a point. Cook is going to be stuck behind Thompson, as they'll be putting down some good pace, but struggling to get past another car could be doom, especially with things like dirty air, slipstream as well by proxy. They will have major effects on your racing efforts, as Richard Cook is going to be exemplifying, going down the inside through into the second chicane of the straight, and all big wobble. He goes in too deep. He goes out into the gravel, and he's going to, at best, return in the likes of P9 as that is going to be Barham going through the chicane, just passing before Cook can get back on the gas. Lemonade, meanwhile, staying within about half a second of Danny Moffat. Looking for that hard fight, that hard-fought chase. With Gilligan about 2.6 seconds adrift, this is the chance for the top two to push each other and to get away. The field is hunting for each other's spots, hunting for that sport. Finlayson has made a very good recovery from 2 invalid laps to now sitting in 5th. He could have this in his pocket. As long as he's careful, he doesn't get overzealous, he doesn't overdrive the car, he'll be in very good stead. He's chasing down as much as he can, distance-wise. I don't think he's quite in the proximity to have a slipstream. All that we do know is that he will be chomping at the bit to get a position done, to get his own space, and to start pushing forward without pressure. Pressure is going to be a massive killer at this stage of the game, as exemplified down at the bottom. Sims and Murray, 42 seconds behind, and it looks like they've lost their lights. They have completely lost the front bodywork. It is completely smashed, and with Sims also missing his rear lights, this could be a serious worry, a serious threat to the drivers here. We do see a bit of a lighting effect coming on as he gets onto the brakes. I'm not sure to what extent that is visible to other racers. Either way, it has me very concerned. Oh, looks like he does have visibility of the lights still, but the running brake lights are broken in, figuratively and literally. We check to the front, we check to Eade. 2 seconds adrift of Moffat and Gilligan, about equidistant in the opposite way. A massive gap forming between the top 8 and the rest of the grid. We can see that the bottom 3 have all jumped into the pit lane. Barham, Murray and Sims. I can understand why Murray and Sims went in, but to go in the pit stop for Barham is an interesting choice. It only serves to lose you more time. But we'll see what they can do up at the top. He is the driver to beat in terms of the rest of the field, but Moffat is clearing away. 2.6 seconds and counting. They seem to have some total control. Fully clean mastery of the car. Challenge for that opening stent, opening segment. Of course, with the mandatory pit stop, you will have to change things up. You will have to give it your everything. But field-wise, we are starting to see distinct packs now forming. We have our top 3, Moffat, Eade, and by a margin, Gilligan, because he's 4 seconds behind Eade at this stage. We have Molloy, Finlayson, and Thompson. We have Vasuri and Cook, who themselves are closing fast to each other. In fact, we might see Cook draw side by side to try and facilitate an overtake. He is going to catapult round. That will be Vasuri taking an easy yield and going into 7th. Cook in the number 17. Primed to go even further, even faster. The hunt is on. Race is still alive. And then looking to the front, looks like Simon Eads managed to get a bit of time away from his rival. The hunt is going to rage as we are already coming up to the first 10 minutes having elapsed. 25% of the race through. Here are your current standings, with the racers going to stretch their car as much as they can early on. They are taking a little bit of an off-track line. I wonder what the legality is on that. With many laps ahead to go. It is losing a bit of time. Not a gap that is insurmountable. Cook has managed to peel away from Ito. And Finlayson has got his own internal pocket. He's a couple of seconds away from Molloy, and then Thompson is about 5 seconds behind. Thompson arguably being the most isolated in this main group. Actually, that cannot hold a candle, really, to where Barham is at. Of course, having stopped, having seemingly had an issue, is completely marooned. This could be good for him, as he could back himself into a corner, but also could push forward without any outside and external pressures. Close up some of that time. While it will never replace the time lost through a pit stop, it will loosen the damage. It will soften the blow. Finlayson trying his best to chase. But I gotta say, I'm looking forward to when the pit stops do happen. Those mandatory tyres and maybe a little bit of a splash of fuel for good measure. Because we will see cars converge. We will see strategies coincide with one another. Will you go in earlier than the rest of the field? Try and establish your foothold on track position. Or do you go later? Try and overcut the field with a decisive tactic. To almost preserve your position on track and get a couple of hot laps in yourself before they really give up. We're just almost playing witness at this stage, as everyone is going to be forming their own pocket with which they own the racetrack. Finlayson, I'd say, is the closest to other cars right now, actually. Quickly flipping the script. Gilligan is about 7 seconds apiece either side. Finlayson is actually one of the closer drivers in terms of cars. Many others are gapping around. And a bit of an early wobble for some. Not something that can write off your race. One to be careful of. Barham really is marooned here. I wonder if he finds it easier or harder to race with these kind of conditions befalling him. Let's take a quick check in, a quick check around, and 4.5 laps in, Danny Moffat is going to be the car to beat in tonight's session. Consistent lapping, 327.6 is a formidable time to put down. That is going to be a tough fought match. Simon Eade is going to be closely trailing behind, about 1.5 seconds behind on the lap, and 4 seconds around that overall. Gilligan himself trying his best. With 7, almost 8 seconds between, one has to wonder if it's possible to reel in that kind of gap. It is a question that beggars further nuance, further understanding, or a judgment call can be well and truly made. Time to see what this will yield for the racing ahead. Who will make the challenge? Who will be the one to break that mold and put some serious pressure onto other drivers? What will make of this? Let's check on some of the gaps, I'd say. As everyone at this point is hot lapping. No one is interacting so much with drivers on track. Let's take a look at some of their benchmarks around it. Surrey, a driver who has had a bit of a wobble in terms of qualifying, will be committed and will remain strong as they hold a comfortable P8. Even with the large gap between himself and Cook that has now spanned and formed, he's not under any threat from Barham, who is currently 47 seconds behind. It's not something he should concern himself with. Looks like we have Cook, though, finally heading into the pits after an early hard push. He's jumping on some tyres, getting himself a little bit of fuel there. Looks like minimum viable fuel to finish the race. Let's see when he sets off again. Where he might come out on track. I don't think he'd interact with anyone on the course, but there you go. The Jacks dropping down. Re-emerging on the track. Actually re-emerging fairly far back. A longer stop than he was expecting, potentially. You can hear as well how he short shifts the car. At these low speeds, it's so easy to break traction on the rear. We're just checking on board with our championship leader, Gilligan. He's got a effective strategy here that he could use, which would be counterintuitively backing off. He has got the points advantage here. 17 points in his favor, which will be enough to lock this championship if he remains in current position. There will be, of course, a discrepancy, but with a 17-point difference, there would be a need for Gilligan to finish 8th or lower Or 5th or lower, actually. Minor error in my math. If Gilligan finishes any lower than 5th, he will drop the championship, as there will be an 18-point difference between P1 and P5, enough to bring Moffat over by 1 point. All Gilligan realistically needs to do is hold firm, hold this spot. He will be fine. Because that cannot always be said for every driver. And for the likes of Cormac Molloy, his current position would put him with quite a good points tally. Will certainly confirm that P3, but I don't think it is enough, unfortunately, to get a P2 out of. Moffat will have the points advantage out of this race. And if these standings hold, we will be looking at a championship that is split by 6 points. 6 points separating our two final top drivers at the end would be quite an exciting sight. Let's take a look more with Thompson and see quickly what kind of race he is going to be running. It was 44 seconds away from Moffat and 6 seconds away from Finlayson. We'll be looking for that way to close some gap and make up time. We'll be struggling for options though, with Finlayson seemingly peeling away. Best he can hope for is that he would get it done on the second half of the race, on that second stint. That would be his bar. And Siricha Cook, now having made his stop, is actually gaining significant time. Lapping about equal to the leaders. And in fact, going a little bit more aggressive, you can see that he's trying to catch up and retake P7. We want to see it come to fruition. And we want to see some battle, some fighting, some spirits clashing here on this racecourse. Of course, an iconic venue to end it with here at the Invitational. And it commands a hefty battle to the end. Looks like we have Barham now heading into the pits, and oh, that is not a healthy looking car. I can understand why he's heading into the pits. He's lost almost his entire aero package. I don't know what is going on there, but that is going to be an easy position for Sims, and it does look like we've unfortunately lost a car. We have lost a runner in all of this. You hate to see it happen. That is going to be Murray, who will be dropping away on this one. And that leaves us with only 10 cars left. Simon Eads has actually dropped down quite significantly as Moffat holds firm. It's going to be now almost 10 seconds between the top two. And then 13 seconds between Gilligan and Eade here. 15 to himself and Molloy. 7 between Molloy and Finlayson. About 2 seconds between Finlayson and Thompson. Almost 45 seconds. In fact, 50 seconds between Thompson and Vasuri. 9 between Vasuri and Cook. And then further down you have over a minute between himself, or Cook, and Sims. And an exact minute between Sims and Barham. These gaps are stretching out. And I will be watching to see who can make a time improvement. Because that's, at this stage, what the drivers are all about. It's the time improvement. It's the development. It's the hunt for a chance. There's watching, viewing, all of them go. I'm going to have a quick look at Cook, however, as he has done an immense job making up time. Now within 5 seconds. In fact, you can see that R89 lurking in the wings, lurking in the shadows. Half a tenth down on the Deltas. That time is being absolutely eclipsed here by the number 17. 15 minutes left to go, over half of the race under the belt. A great invitational that has been had. When will we see the leaders heading into the pit, however? Remember, stops are mandatory. They have to come in sometime. The judgment call is, as always, on the drivers. But too far in an initial stint could put you in strategic trouble. Steering Cook will look sharp. Cook really trying to close that time down. He's watching on board. We're watching him chase Vasuri down at this stage. See, more aggressive on his lines. Hiro taking a gentler, more conservative approach. That is Molloy into the pit. Where will he come out? Let's see here. Jump in, jump on those tyres, and we'll wait to see how that plays. Cook is going to go side by side, though, into this next left-hander. Is going to decisively take the move before a quick swing back outward and starting into the more curvy, flowing S section of the track. Stays narrow. Not going the high aggression route. Opting instead to keep it within those lines, keep it within track limits, and be a more conservative, held back character. Success is on the horizon. So 13 minutes on the clock. 13 minutes left to race, left to fight, left to allow these drivers to show their pace, show what they are made of. And pushing too hard can put you on the very edge of grip, the precipice. And falling off of the deep end is a death sentence for your race. I don't think we've really seen that from anyone, luckily. No major dramas. You do have Barham, who's kept to himself at the back of the field. Marching to his own drum. Running to his own pace. I don't know if we'll see an appearance from the safety car today. Imagine how much that would spice things up. So while we look on board and check in with a couple of other cars. So it has been a monumental season. The inaugural season of the Invitational has been a success. And we owe it all to you, the viewers watching at home. The drivers currently out on the course, the drivers who couldn't make it tonight. The staff, the trustees. All putting it together and making it work. They fight hard, race well. The leaders are jumping in. Moffat, Eade, Gilligan all going into the pit lane now. The question is, who will come out on top? This is going to be Moffat. Coming up to the end of the line, is going to get out ahead, of course, of the field. Eade is going to be coming out next, and Gilligan is going to be third. Finlayson also jumping in. He decided that now is the time to go, just before the 10-minute mark. And there we are. Gilligan jumping out. We're having to think about that fuel save. Think about that fuel strategy a little bit more. The lap times were vastly differing owing to which side of the start-finish line they were of the pits. Thompson also doing the same. Finlayson got his tyres down. Quick jump. Out onto the course again. And just like that, the top 5 have now taken their leave to the side of the track, but may not be top 5 for long. That's Cormac Molloy. Finlayson is under some trouble, and oh, big kick into the dirt, into the grass, barely holding it together. Quite the wobble there for Molloy. Surrey heading into the pits. Molloy barely holding it together. That could have ended in disaster. Looks like we do have a bit of an upset, however, as the safety car is on this course. This is going to change the game. Eade is now on the back of Moffat. We will see that Gilligan is fast approaching that safety car duo. And this will cause quite the change, quite the commotion. Oh, a little bit dipping into the gravel. Some dirting on your tyres. Here we are, everyone now queuing up. Racers strongly anticipating what could happen next. Finlayson and Cook, close proximity there. Molloy also just up ahead. The trio is up in front, and they are joined by another car. Barham is now part of the queue. He has slotted himself neatly between Eade and Gilligan. Now we will see the other racers join on the back. There's Cormac Molloy, Ray Finlayson, Richard Cook. Safety car controls the pace, controls the cadence. And with the majority of the field in tow, we're only missing Thompson, Surrey and Sims. 8 minutes. Final 20% of the race. We will spend the next minute or so under the safety car. But then eventually when we get that release, all guns are blazing. Firing on all cylinders. The race will be on. The final, true final race will be on here for GRDC's Invitational. They're all queuing up. Will we get a chance for some catch-up? As we can see, everyone else has got their quick and close. It's a key chance for the likes of Basuri to really get back to the race. Be given a second chance, a second lease on this run. We'll watch him hot lap, try and make his way as quickly as possible through the course. Already down to 27 seconds. It's going to be close. They're already getting up to the twisties. There was sedentary pace when you look at them from here. And then you jump aboard to Vasuri and, oh, has had an off. Nearly going in again. But between those wobbles is immense pace and aggression. Constantly towing the line between speed and grip. Stability and corner exits. Maximizing RPM versus short shifting. We are 6 minutes on the clock. Surrey is back up to these racers. And where is the safety car going to peel? It's going to peel now. Drivers are reconvening. And the green flag conditions are set to commence. Here you go, Moffat is going to go for it. He's gone on the hunt. He's gone on the chase. That is going to be Barham, who is yielding, offering to not disrupt the major fight. He is a lap behind, so I think I can understand why you take that choice. Moffat going too deep on that initial corner, that main apex. Having to take to the curbs, to the escape. Many others. Looks like they've dodged the fate. They have dodged the fate this time. But we saw almost everyone. Reminder. They all went off, bar one. I believe that was Aid. In a ironic twist. So let's see what they've got. You can see major tussling happen between Molloy and Cook. Cook has actually got up ahead of Cormac. Thompson is ahead of Finlayson. Surrey is going to be also chasing, but oh, that's a bit much. That's a slide and a half there. From that particular Midnight Black R89C. We've got a drag race heading down out of the first chicane of the Mulsanne Straight. Looks like Molloy was teeing up, going side by side with Cook heading into this one. But went for the, I believe, to be wiser choice. Goes in. Tucks back. And it doesn't let a single move end his race. Good composure, good balance. Other cars will be looking at what they can do. Thompson briefly going over a cone. There we are, second to last lap, penultimate lap, and tensions are already high. Thompson chasing Molloy down. Molloy has actually had quite the drop since the start of this session. I'm not sure what's happened, but it seems like they have had major problems with getting that car locked in, getting them comfortable while they go out racing. Moffat has successfully pushed Ede back. Gilligan is going to be a little bit further adrift. Not his sole focus. Cook and Thompson remain part of sole focus. And then Molloy along with Finlayson too. Don't know what is going on with Molloy. He seems so fine and dandy. Then all of a sudden his car is like a balloon, almost started to deflate. Like a deflating balloon, it just peters away. Rounding out the final corners and then heading into the final lap. Moffat leads and holds a commanding lead at that. Looks like they have led almost every race or every lap of this race. Let's check our gaps. Let's see who's where. Molloy and Finlayson within a second. Thompson and Cook have started to cross that barrier. These are the only two that remain. Finlayson, Molloy, 60 seconds. Make it count. Field is itching to go. Finlayson's just outside of proximity of the slipstream. Not going to be that effective. Thompson, in fact, could be posing a bit of a bigger threat at large. Cook could be watching his six for a position that could be very easily lost. Molloy is looking around, watching and monitoring their surroundings acutely in order to ensure they get that advantage, they get that best foot forward. We avoid any real troubles. The safety car back in, retiring to the pit lane. And the timer has officially elapsed. So this is going to be the first to the finish line race now. Looks like we have trouble in Dreamland, as there will be, of course, a marker still on the map from Murray's retirement. But head and shoulders above the rest in this race trim, Moffat has dominated. He's taken the Group C by the horns. He's taming it, keeping it in check, and even when it wants to be a rubble rouser. And a bit of a bronco. Kept his cool, kept his head, and has not put a foot wrong this session. So while we wrap, and while we see the drivers fly their way through, we thank you all for the amazing season that has transpired. The brilliant racing, the brilliant opportunity that something like this affords. A wobble from Moffat, uncharacteristic of them. But the opportunity to get a racing series like this is not lost on anyone here. Thank you to the viewers, thank you to the drivers, and as we come up to the line, Danny Moffat, 11 laps deep, is going to call this race time. crosses the line. The race now under full completion. This will be a flurry of cars firing their way through. Cook and Thompson with enough space to hold spot. Molloy in 6th with a decent recovery. Finlayson much further down the road. Not sure what happened to be precise. We'll watch and see what happens. We'll wait on for these results, and here we go. Looks like there's been a change with total race time, so it is going to be up on top. Moffat is going to take a 10-second pen and is going to be dropping to 2nd. So that is an interesting development. Gilligan is going to be in 3rd still with Cook, Thompson, Molloy, Finlayson, Sims. Missouri with 21 seconds of penalties. Unfortunate for him there. Followed by Barham and Murray with an early retirement out on lap 2. That is your time. That is your grid, folks. And your final standings out in race 6. Final Le Mans round. And I'll say what a race that was. A great chance to show the drivers, even when in their own pockets of the track, even when in their own space, they showed their capability, they showed their fighting spirit, and their ability to get the race done and get it where they need to be in order to show their stuff, show their strength. We do have an interview that is available, and it will be from none other than Danny Moffat, so let's take a chance. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh mate, I was hammering that gearbox there. That's brilliant.
Oh, hello Mr. Moffat, good to see you.
Hello.
You join us at I join in at the perfect time, I see, and just talking about your race, is it?
Yeah, I've just I've got the stream going, so I was just talking to the viewers. Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely enjoyed it. Oh, how did you find that race? What were you expecting going in?
Nothing really, because I didn't do any practice. I've slipped a disc in my back, so it was hard to get in the rig. So I thought I'm not going to drive too much because it's going to hurt. So but yeah, I found that the boost was set to 80% as standard, so I put that up to 100 to make it a bit more wild, and then I dropped the wing right down, and it was crazy to drive. Brilliant.
It looks like a bit of a handful at points. There's I saw quite a few drivers really kicking the rear out, so I guess taming that beast is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, oh, it was epic. That's probably the most fun car I've driven ever. That was absolutely epic. So yeah, I hope we do them again. I really do.
Oh, me too. It was great. It was great to sort of watch the spectacle and sort of hear the cars and watch them flying past. It was quite a sight. Now, just a quick sort of, not only looking at today's race, but a bit of a season in review. How have you felt? Because first Invitational in the books, really solid performance, sort of locked in that podium spot. How are you feeling about it all?
Oh, brilliant! I've really, because we're doing a different car each time, it's just great. Quite often we've got a new track to learn as well as a new car each round. I mean, most of us sort of know Le Mans to a point, but yeah, the variety has just been brilliant. The car's getting trickier each round. Absolutely, I love cars that want to send you into the wall. Really keeps you awake when you're driving.
I'd say, and of course, looking to the future now, so we'll be having an Invitational in 2025. What would be something you want to see out of that?
Oh, just the same sort of variety, with any wacky cars on the most difficult tracks, yeah, the trickiest tracks always put the smile on the face better. So, yeah, a nice tricky season with something new each round. Same as this basically. Yeah, it's been brilliant. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, as am I. And I guess sort of any closing words to the viewers out there at home, viewers watching.
Oh, just thank you very much for watching. I hope we've put on a good show. Hope you've enjoyed it, because I know all of us have. I mean, if you'd have been in chat, yeah, some of the things we've been talking about while we've been driving, the chat's been really funny. We've kept each other entertained.
Oh, I'd love to be in that spot at some point, just to be a fly on the wall, listen in. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, you should do. You'd love it.
Well, I say, brilliant to talk to you, and
you, thank you.
So we'll see what the future brings. But thank you as always for joining us in the box.
And you, mate. I love watching your commentary.
I do appreciate it. But hey, take care. Put your feet up.
And
well earned, and a great race.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye.
That was Danny Moffat, everyone. What a season. What a first season in the books. Officially closed out now. I have to say, it's been a massive privilege to be able to be in this position, to find my footing in AMS2 with a series like this. It has been a brilliant experience. It's been a learning experience for sure. I think we remember the initial round, the Copa Uno round, and a couple of technical hiccups that we experienced with that. It was a learning experience as much as it was a rewarding one, and I absolutely loved it myself. So this is where we take our leave. Where the future holds in terms of specifics, we'll of course have to wait and see. But this is not all that GRDC does. There are other opportunities, there are other events. There is plenty more to offer, and we have, of course, much on the horizon to discuss. But heading into 2025, or even into 2024, as we do have AMS and ACC offerings, the thing that will stand out and what will determine the future is where this game goes and where you go. So, thank you all for watching. It has been a pleasure and a privilege to commentate for you all this season. I will hopefully see you on the next season. And even if not, it has been amazing. My name's been Ben Sapsford. We are signing off for tonight. And we'll see you in the future. Good night for now.